Hi, everyone. I'm Betsy Church. I'm usually our talent brand manager here at GitLab, but I've just come off of a 2-week rotation as a CEO shadow. And really just wanted to hop on here while everything's sort of fresh in my mind from this last 2 weeks. I've learned so much that it's impossible to really cover it all in one video, but I'll have to spend a little bit more time after all of this kind of consolidating all of my notes and thoughts and maybe create another video or blog post. But for now, I want to share a couple of really key themes that stuck out to me most over the past 2 weeks. And a bit of background for those who don't know what the CEO Shadow Program is. The purpose of the program is really to give GitLab team members just a broader view and understanding of all of the functions at GitLab. So for 2 full weeks, the Shadow joins every single meeting that Sid's in. And the program is usually in person in San Francisco, but because of the travel restrictions related to COVID-19, it's moved fully remote. So during my rotation, I joined all of the meetings from my home in my usual office. And I'm actually based in North Carolina, so I'm normally working Eastern time hours. So for this rotation, I was working in Pacific time hours. So it was a cool experience, even just for the time zone difference. But so I'll get started with just one key theme, which was based around our values. The GitLab company values could literally be seen and heard in every single meeting. And I knew that after being at GitLab for a year, that I noticed that in a lot of the meetings I'm in with my peers and with my team. But truly just seeing it even happen in all of the meetings that are happening at the e-group, our executive team level, and knowing that it's truly in every part of the company, not just words on a page, that was just refreshing and eye-opening to witness. So, while I would say Sid is usually the one kind of encouraging everyone to stick to the values, if we do start to do something that might kind of sway from that, it's not just him. You'll see other team members and his peers bringing up values and saying things like, I think we should do XYZ because it's more efficient, or let's just take this first iteration and then we'll build from there. Sid actually said something that really stuck out to me about iteration. When someone mentioned long-term planning, he said, the future is composed of a bunch of short-term things. It's counterintuitive, but you want to focus on taking the long-term thing and making it smaller. So I just felt like that was such a great sort of way to put that. And it was just an example of that happening in action in one of his meetings. And it's really clear to me that all of these values popping up in his daily work is part of the reason that we're able to continue to grow GitLab's culture and scale it as we've added so many new team members in the last couple of years. It's a really difficult thing to do. And not to mention just the existence of this program is really transparency come to life. We literally were in every single meeting with Sid. I think I was only asked to drop because 2 times because, discussions that were more sensitive about people might have come up. And so, otherwise we were in every single meeting, and just to have that kind of true view into the daily life of the CEO and the inner workings of the company is incredibly unique in itself. Very, very cool experience. So the other thing I want to talk about that I noticed was related to leadership during difficult or uncertain times. Like I said, the Shadow program's currently remote because of the global pandemic that our world is facing. And that brings sort of like a unique challenge to every company right now, obviously. And for a global company like GitLab, this is something that's affecting all of our almost 1,300 team members in different ways. And so, shadowing during this time really gave me kind of a front row seat to how Sid and the rest of the e-group leads and handles that kind of adversity. And true to GitLab, they've really, shown up in a very GitLab way that demonstrates our values all along the way. And I think the best example of that I saw in my 2 weeks was last Friday. So it was May 1st, I believe. And Sid declared Friday Friends and Family Day for everyone at GitLab. So a little bit of context, despite many reminders from all of our leaders that GitLab is a family and friends first, work second company, he had noticed that productivity had actually increased since the stay-at-home orders had sort of been in effect in many countries and worldwide. And so he decided that, you know, we need to declare this day as a good reminder to all of our team to really take the time that they need for themselves, for their families, for their friends, for their loved ones, whatever that might look like to each team member, and just take the day off. And so he and the other e-group members led by example and did the same and shared how they were spending their day. And we saw so many great photos and stories shared from a bunch of different team members around the world about how they were doing the same. So that was just another example of how refreshing it is to have a leadership team that really means what they say. It's something that is sometimes rare and really important to have. So those are the two things that sort of have been standing out in my mind over these last 2 weeks. Again, I think I'll have so much more to come after this experience has sort of ruminated in my head a little bit. I also, before I sign off, wanted to touch on the idea of this rotation being remote. So it was just announced that the program will be staying remote for another month and a half or so at least. And so there will be other team members who, like there may be people watching this who are considering nominating themselves for the program and might be debating it for one reason or another. And if I could just say one thing to you, it would be to do it. I'll admit I was pretty nervous going into the program. I think I had a little bit of imposter syndrome about specifically like whether my skills in the GitLab tool were good enough for whatever, tasks we might be tackling. And all of those worries completely disappeared during day one. I realized I had nothing to be concerned about, and you learn so much. It's just an invaluable experience. You really just get a better view of the team outside your bubble. You get a better look at sort of Sid's personality and work style, which is a really cool thing, and how the e-group interacts together. Get lots of little leadership and remote work tips along the way, and the list goes on. So, I do feel a little bit of FOMO, fear of missing out, about missing some of the in-person interactions that past shadows have had when they're doing a rotation in person in San Francisco. But at the same time, this remote rotation was ideal for me in my situation. It didn't require 2 weeks of travel. I didn't have to figure out how to handle responsibilities at home while I'm gone, and so on. So if I could do it again, I would. And I encourage any of you who are considering that, thinking maybe a remote rotation is a good fit for them, to take the leap. And certainly feel free to reach out to me if you have questions as well. Anyway, that's all for now. And I will link to the CEO Shadow page in the handbook at the bottom of this video so that people can learn more if they'd like to. And last but not least, I just want to thank Sid and Sherry and all of the awesome team at GitLab that make this program possible. Your work doesn't go unnoticed, and it was truly one of the coolest experiences I've ever had. So thank you to all of you, and thanks everyone for watching.